Right, here we are with the Five Ways checking in. Today I've got with me, I think we're on this is probably episode 9 or 10 now, and today I'm with Mike. Hi Mike, how are we doing, lad?
Good evening, Richie. How you doing, mate? All right?
I'm all right, I'm not too bad. I'm not too bad at all. Still working at home. Looking forward to getting out. I feel like a rat in a cage.
Unfortunately, I've been doing a little bit of both. So a couple of days at home and a couple of days in the office. Our office is a bit like the Marie Celeste at the minute. So you can go in and sit in one corner and just keep out the way. So it's a bit of a change. I do sort of a couple of days there and a couple of days here if I can.
I feel like you've gone back to looking at your background, I feel like we've gone back to the best decade that ever happened, which of course is the 1980s. It is the 1980s.
It is the only decade that counts, really, in my
really
opinion. It is a little bit of a homage this to the 80s. This is where I come and just get away from it all. And it's my office as well when I'm at work. So
I like that.
I keep out the way.
You've got a cave as well, and it's like, yeah, I could do worse things than working at home. If I've got a cave like that with speakers and Terminator and Robocop posters to stare at, reminding me of that class decade.
It's nice to have a little bit of background music, but it's very easy to get distracted. So I'd have to make a list of what I've got to achieve and
Yes,
get on with it sometimes. But it is the only place I can come get out the way because I've got a little. He's nearly 2 now, my son, and with my wife being on furlough, the pair of them are at home, and neither of them know what "be quiet, please" means. So,
yeah, but neither do we. Last time I checked.
That's very true, mate.
That's true.
But the sad thing is, my son knows that the door to the attic. I had a staircase put in. This is the attic. I had the staircase put in, and the door to it is where the airing cupboard used to be in his bedroom. So when he's getting his clothes done or his bum done or something, he's banging on the door and shouting, "Da da da da." Yes, you're not allowed up here. The toys aren't for playing with up here.
No, that's for sure. No, they're way past being played with. That's the whole point, isn't it?
Yeah, they survived this long, so you've got to continue.
So tell people who you are, what you do, basically.
Yeah, my name is Mike O'Reilly. I'm the Climate Action Middlesbrough Coordinator for Middlesbrough Environment City, a lottery-funded project that started. Well, I started in post as of January this year, so I had the break for Christmas and came back into this post.
And you had a project that was partly funded by some of the men's health funding, men's suicide prevention funding. That was the 80 build.
18 build, that's right. Yeah. I mean, you can understand why I came up with that name, can't you? Looking around, but that was in my previous role. It was I was the community actions coordinator in my previous role, and that was about working with communities and just sort of doing projects that they wanted to do, really. And one of the ones that had worked in the past was like cycle recycling stuff. And what I did was basically come together a lot of projects that had worked in the past. I put them together to make one big project, and we're fortunate enough to get the funding to deliver that. In its 3rd year, funnily enough, it's very popular. It's a pleasure to deliver it as well. And fingers crossed, I'm trying to bring that element of that project into this role that I've got now, mainly because it needs people that are skilled in certain areas to be able to deliver that project, and I'm one of them. So I'm hoping that I can continue with that because it is a nice thing to do.
I mean, I suppose with veering off for a second, but when you're tinkering with that program's obviously about taking. My understanding was it was about taking old bikes, doing them up, or helping people learn how to build a bike, and in the end they could take that bike away and they've got a bike basically.
Yeah, I mean the bike really was irrelevant. It was a way of getting people into the room.
Bikes have failings too, Mike.
Well, okay, it wasn't irrelevant, but it wasn't necessarily the main focus. The main focus was just breaking down the barriers and getting teamwork together and problem solving and stuff. So the bike that come out the end of it was a bonus.
Yeah.
But the journey to get the bike was what we were looking at. So bringing people together and just breaking down the barriers and getting people helping each other and stuff was where we were going. So the fact they got a bike at the end of it was brilliant. That was just a bonus.
Fantastic. And you got the right guys involved who would benefit from that as well.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we've worked with every group we've had. Has been a good group of guys. Been a pleasure to work with. And as a rule, we did it on a Tuesday, and there was never a Tuesday morning I'd get up and think, I've got to go to work today.
That's it.
It was just I'd be there early, put the kettle on, because it was just a nice thing to do.
So is that your? I mean, when we talk about the 5 ways and how blokes use the 5 ways, and they might not do them intentionally, but they do. You know, it's about exercising, but when it comes to like focusing your attention on one thing, which is essentially being mindful about something, is that bikes for you then? Is that like when you're tinkering away on bikes or electronics or whatever it could be?
Yeah, I mean, I like fixing stuff and seeing how things work. So I'm a bit of a collector, as you know. So I collect like old stereos and things. So I've repaired a few of those over this lockdown, and I've now got a cupboard full of those downstairs, much to my wife's dismay. So yeah, there's a lot of that, and just like tinkering, and I restore and build bikes from the 80s as well. So that's been keep my mind focused. And also there's a few sort of jobs around the house that I've tried to prioritize, because they're all just jobs that'll take an hour.
Yeah.
But if you spend a weekend doing them, you just need 5 weekends, and the weekends are precious. So I've been sort of coming in at night, putting my scruffs on, doing one job, and then having my tea and stuff. So I've tried to focus on doing little jobs. I mean, one of the jobs might be I've got to change a belt on an 80s blaster from a ghetto blaster from the 80s because the belt doesn't work and the tape deck's not working. That might be one of the jobs, but nevertheless, it's still a big list of jobs that I've got to do. So my job on what was it? Where we now Tuesday. So my job yesterday was to change a spring on the car because I'd snapped a suspension spring. So come in, got it done, got the spring on, and then went and had my tea.
You started training as a mechanic. You worked in what, VW and Audi as well?
That's right, yeah. When I left school, I left as a mechanic. So well, I was a mechanic for 5 years on the tools. So over that time, I acquired quite a lot of tools. So I kept them. I mean, a man doesn't lose tools given a choice. So I can still do bits and bobs like that, and those skills stayed with me.
You're lucky in a way, because it's sort of, if you can turn something you love doing into a job, that's not something a lot of people get the opportunity to do, and that is a bit of a privilege, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I'm very fortunate in the fact that my passion ended up being my job. Not necessarily at the beginning, but it came down full circle. From fixing bikes at the weekend with my nana and granddad's, it then became a job again. 11 years ago, actually became a job rather than just a tinkery hobby. And I sit in this seat now. Well, our relationship is built on where I started working and stuff, and I've met some fantastic people, and I feel really fortunate for that.
Actually, met some great people like me. Obviously, talking of tools, you're sat opposite looking at one right now.
I'd made a note about that. I was going to say that next.
Yeah. Too late. I got in there first. Yeah, I mean, I started off bike-wise. I think I started off in a little budgie when I was a kid. Then I had a grifter, and then I somehow managed to get a BMX that I think you and I have resolved that was not a night. What was it?
Mark II black burner.
BMX Mark II black burner. They're all second-hand and all bought fairly cheap. But that burner, I used to chuck it around left, right, and centre. It didn't take a knock, didn't take a hit.
They were made out of angle iron. It doesn't matter, does it? That's how they were built back in the day.
Honestly, I wish I'd kept all these things just to be able to look at them and just remember.
It's like I mean, if I'd have kept a lot of the bikes that I'd had back in the day, and I mean, I'm trying to collect a lot of them back again now. My son's first bike is a little mini burner, a little blue and yellow Valley burner, because that was my first bike when I was a kid. Class. So I've managed to find one and restore it for him. So when he's old enough, he'll be able to use that as his bike. Only on the grass, though. He's not putting on the concrete.
No, obviously, get it right. Have they got the mag wheels? Mag wheels or the chrome wheels?
No, chrome. The Mark Ones didn't get the mag wheels.
Can you still get them then? Mag wheels? No.
Yeah, Skyway still make wheels, and there's plenty of second-hand ones out there.
That's insane. I love it. So are you sort of are you just more hands-on in the garage, or are you getting out and about as well to stay active, stay fit? How seriously is that a thing for you?
No, I get out and about. I mean, I mentioned my wife and my son my wife's on furlough, so they're going out walking most days. So if I work from home, I'll try and take an hour to join him. Just depends on when his nap is and stuff like that. But I definitely go. I mentioned sort of getting jobs done. I prioritise one day of the weekend for that, and the other day for my family. So if I work on the cars on a Saturday or something like that, then we'll do something on the Sunday. And then a little bit of me time out and about. I cycle every Thursday night. Yes. So I go out on a Thursday night and do about 15, 20 miles.
What sort of cycling? Like road biking, mountain biking? What are you doing?
Well, I use a mountain bike just because I don't stay on the roads. So
are you allergic to lycra? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it doesn't suit me, mate. Yeah, I've got rules in places that you don't want to see. So
you don't put them on your head, mate. I've told you about this before. Two little holes.
Force of habit. So I do a little bit of all sorts. I mean, I normally ride with a couple of lads, but obviously we can't at the moment. But as a rule, we do a little bit of everything. So we might just have a ride over to Eagles Cliff to the woods there and a ride about and come back again, or sometimes even ride the pub for a pint and back. So
down in Quarry Woods in Preston Park.
Yeah, it's nice in there.
If you do, that's where I used to play when I was a kid, like on the ramps down there and stuff.
Yeah, the ramps are still there. There's a couple blocked off now, and I'm 43 years old now, so you don't have the bottle that you used to have, and it hurts when you fall off because you don't bounce or bend.
Yes.
So I still go in there a little bit, but it's more just to keep the wheels turning, Richie. If I'm honest, it's if I went off up Gisborough Hills and stuff, I probably wouldn't enjoy it because I'm not that fit that I can just go out and ride all day up the hills. I can ride all day long if it's just a little bit of up and down and on the road and a little bit of fire trails and stuff like that. I'm all right. So that's what we do.
Do you think have you found like lockdown? Have you had your ups and downs with lockdown? Or I mean, life can throw you ups and downs anyway, of course. But as a result of it, have you ever had your days where you've thought, I'm gonna have to do something different here because I need to mix it up a bit and I'm getting a little bit, walls are caving in, coming in on me, sort of thing, or?
Initially, when the lockdown first happened, our office closed, so I was sat behind a computer screen in this room every day, and I could hear my wife and my son playing downstairs, and occasionally I'd go down, but I had things to do. So it got hard after a while. As much as it's a fantastic place to be, you don't want to be sat in here every single day. I mean, there's a window there. So it's not like you just four walls and you can't see any daylight, but nevertheless, one day just blended into another. So it was nice when we were able to relax it a little bit and go in and do a few things. That's when I came up with the cycle maintenance drop-in, where people would just leave the bike on a Wednesday. And I just tinker with it and send it out, sort of thing, because it was just something we could do for the community that was still kind of getting our aims and objectives out there a little bit.
Yes.
In the absence of being able to do it face-to-face kind of thing. And it got me out. So every Wednesday I used to do that. And then I think we mentioned earlier when I was just having a chat before we started, I was doing a few walk videos and a few like cycling videos and stuff like that. And I mentioned one that I'd recorded over quite some time about Route 65 that was just
Route 65. Where's that go from to then?
Well, it starts at Hornsey on the Yorkshire coast. It comes all the way down through York and Selby and into Middlesbrough, but we concentrated. I didn't go up to Selby or anything. I did one from Hemlington to the Middlesbrough town centre, and then I did another one from Colby Newham, because a lot of the time people think that it's too far away. You'd have to cycle down Martin Road or Acklam Road, and that's not the case at all. It's actually quite a pleasant route in. So when the lockdown was a little bit relaxed, we started doing the recordings, and we did them over a number of days so we could get other people involved as well. So it wasn't just men in lycra kind of thing. So that was the way that we did it. So if you do watch the videos, I'm sure you'll be able to share the link, Richie. If you want to, I can send you that.
I've actually I'd love to, like, we'll post it as part of this, and maybe we can link them back and put a playlist together for BoroManCan. So any blokes who are looking to see, or anyone visiting the area, wants to see those routes, they're there basically. A lot of people have become quite inward looking during lockdown. Like they've started looking backwards and sort of like through the life, reflecting, and then looking at the sort of things that are really important to them, things that get the most from. And it sounds like you've been through a little bit of that inadvertently as well.
Yeah, I have. I mean, I'm quite nostalgic, and I think the older you get, the more you remember just how good things were, really, especially when you were born with not a care in the world. And I tried to sort of bring that into the videos a little bit, and whether I succeeded or not, I don't know, because a lot of the places that I did do the walk videos and things were really special to me, and some of them I hadn't been for quite a while, and it was a bit of a voyage of discovery. And a couple of videos I do get lost, or I can't get through, and I think we'll have to try and find another way. And Google Earth is your friend in that situation. To get out. But it was very much, as I say, it was a raw thing. It was me going out and just trying to find a little bit about my past and a little bit about my childhood, sort of thing. That was kind of the way that I went with it. And as I say, whether it worked or not, I don't know, but I enjoyed doing it. And we got some decent sort of participation and some nice comments about it. So that'll do me. That's
where it comes in, though. I mean, it's like, you've been out and about, you're sort of learning a little bit, something a bit new. You're sort of, thinking about your past, and that's great. I just think like that sounds like you've actually benefited from that in a big way. Have you sort of just changing things out a little bit? Have you found it important to sort of stay in touch with friends you couldn't have contact with as a result of lockdown, and as well.
Yeah, I mean, modern technology's been a blessing, really, hasn't it? And there's 5 of my closest friends that we go out regularly, and we have a group that we chat in, so that we've kept in touch that way. There's a friend of mine who does kind of struggle a little bit with mental health at times, and I always make sure that I check in with him. Mm-hmm. And we had a group before the lockdown. We had Thursday night is project night. So every Thursday night we'd go around. There was 4 of us in the group, or there still is 4 of us in the group. We'd take turns to go to each other's garages and fix stuff. No matter what it was, make sure you've got a box full of crisps and drinks, and no matter what it was, we just fix stuff. So of course we can't do that now, but we've still got the Thursday night is project night group. Wow. So we just share things in it. So my pal who can struggle at times, he's part of it, and we just share stuff that we find for sale. So if we know that guy I've just mentioned, he's rebuilding a grifter. Yeah. So if we're finding grifter parts, we say, "Oh, I've been seeing this on here." If we're scoring some parts, or if I buy something that I'm particularly happy about, I'll post it in the group and say, "Check this out, lads, see what I've bought." Whether that be a record or a cassette player or an armrest for your car, whatever that is. And we chat in that. And there must be, it doesn't sound a lot, but there's probably about 10 or 15 messages a day on that group, which sometimes one message makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's
so
really
to have sort of 10 or 15 between 4 of us, just chatting back and forth.
Yeah.
That's it keeps you sane, because you speak to your pals, you don't want to lose touch, do you?
That's exactly right. There's, I mean, in a way, you've sort of answered the last question, which is about how you give, but the fact that you're conscious about one of your pals particularly, and then who might struggle a little bit more at times, and you've got that thing, and you have that regular contact, and whatever happens, you're always going to have that regular contact. I think that's just, I have no idea how those things evolve, but usually one of you has to organise it, doesn't it, and make sure it happens.
Oh, well, my interest in mental health was because of Andy. He won't mind me saying his name, because of Andy, because we mate, and that's kind of where I got an interest in it, and why I've been involved in this as much as I have. I mean, we've known each other for quite a while, Richie, and I've always been interested in the mental health stuff, and I've done a lot of courses and training, and tried to give back as well with the funding that we've received, and being able to give a little bit back by doing the courses for some of the guys that probably wouldn't engage in the services that we provided. So I am very conscious of that, and the difference that just staying in touch makes, especially now. Yeah, especially now. And we're not that far away. We're not that far away. Normally, the bike ride that I mentioned that we do on a Thursday, there's no coincidence there. Sometimes we'll go and fix some bikes and stuff like that in someone's garage. Sometimes we'll meet up and go for a ride. Yeah. Obviously, we can't do that now, which is why I keep doing the ride on the Thursday on my own. But again, if I go out on the bike, or when the lads go out on the bikes on the Thursday, we'll take a photo of where we've gone. Yes. And it's useful for the odd rude meme as well. Don't get me wrong; it's quite useful to take the pee and put some stupid things that you find on Facebook or whatever on there as well for a laugh. But that's what we use it for, and it is important. I do feel it's important to keep in touch.
Fantastic, mate. Honestly, that's really insightful. We could probably chat for a lot longer, and particularly about all the 80s stuff. Before you go, though, I just want to. I remember Walk the Dog and Rock the Cradle from about 1987 with the yo-yos. I understand you've still got the collection of those.
Would you like to see?
I would love to, mate. I would love to.
I found, right, I'm a bit. My wife will say I'm a hoarder. I'm not. I just keep interesting stuff and things that hold a memory, as you've probably already gathered. I'm quite fond of my past and my 80s.
I am.
I was born in 78, but I'm an 80s child. And my mother's attic, I'm not going to tell you where she lives, because if you looted it, you'd make a fortune. Every toy I've ever had, more or less, she's kept. And I found these.
Oh, here we go. 1, 2. The clear one, yeah.
Sprite, yo-yos, spinners from back in the day.
Weren't the clear ones? They're the pro ones, weren't they?
Yeah, the ones with the clear edges. That's still clear, even though it's blue. It's clear. Yeah. They were professional and super. Had white plastic, and they were a little bit lighter. Yeah. And I mean, we've got some of the.
Where did you get them? Where did you get them? 3 in a bag. The replacement.
3 in a bag. They're all sealed as well. I mean, I probably won't open. I'll just put. They've got strings on them anyway. Yeah, they've got the what do they call them? Strings. Oh yeah, they call them strings. Yeah,
your strings.
I remember. I tell you, I'd say interesting. Sorry, it's not interesting at all. But when I was a kid, you talk.
Sorry, mate, we're out of time now. It's nice chatting to you, though.
I think 89. We worked out roughly that they were around, and you used to get them from the town. There was various places.
Yeah,
You couldn't get the strings, and somebody when I was at school who lived up Trimden, which was over yonder. You know, it was Acklam. So over Trimden Avenue and Baldoon Sands, that was you needed a bus or a van to get there. Or whatever. They told me about this place called the Oval. They sold the strings. So this was this miraculous oval. That's where you get the string. And I expected it to be exactly what they said, an oval, like an ice rink or like a racetrack, or it's just a lot of bloody shops in a square. I don't even know. I suppose the road is oval.
The road a bit, yeah, but no. So
when I got there, my mum said I could go over and I could go to this shop and stuff like that. And I was really disappointed when I got there. But at the time, it was all separate shops. I think it was the paper shop or the post office that sold the strings. But it's big corp or something now, isn't it?
What's the equivalent now? The spinners, probably, isn't it? You know, or that was last year, or the year before, even.
I saw last year, Richie. That.
Yeah, no. But it's like there'll be kids in the future that will be like, oh, I remember the spinners. They had them in petrol stations. In fact, they were everywhere, weren't they? Same thing. It was the joke shop near where I lived in Yarm that had the Coca-Cola, like and then they ended up selling like the trolls and all that stuff later on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was deeply disappointed when I found out the Oval was just some shops in a square.
Yeah, I bet you were.
By an Oval Road. It was totally missold to me. It really was.
Yeah, if you're gonna hype things up, do you know what I mean? It really better be not beyond the expectation what it'll actually be like when you get there. So yeah, hold that grudge and hold on to it, mate, as well. The bloody Oval at the Green. Was it the Green? No, not the Green. That's the bloody Thorntree, isn't it? But yeah, the Oval. It's over. Just past Acklam Road, isn't it? Just on the other side. I know it well. Right, you appear to have your man cave turned into a creche, which obviously is unacceptable. And you're going to need to deal with that.
This is one of the things he's not allowed to play with that he's handed me now.
What is that? Well, it looks like it's got Eddie Kidd or something, or
that's
Action.
It's Tamiya remote control car called the Wild Willie.
Wild Willie. Is it a great metaphor for you, Mike? I feel. Brilliant. Right, pal. Thank you very much for doing this. Really appreciate it.
No worries, mate.
See you soon. Look after yourself.
And you, mate. Take care. Take care, everyone.